stream now. So we are live. Hello, welcome to the Mackem Cabbie, Davey and Richie show, or Richie and Davey show. Davey's still trying to get himself put right, but I'll keep you updated on that one. So we've got Richie. How are you doing, Richie?
I'm sound, mate. Just had a nice chill day today with my son. Just spending a
Lovely.
bit quality time with him, like. So, how about yourself?
Yeah, I've had a lazy day today. And you know why not?
Yeah.
Got to say hello. Trisha's in already. She's the admin or moderator of the channel. So good to see you. She says, "Evening, Cabbie and Richie, and everyone in the stream." She says, "I hope you are well. I hadn't realised you had done a stream earlier, Richie. For some reason, I didn't get a notification. Yeah, cheers for the video you put up. It was a good video there, Rich."
Aye. Aye, no bother, mate.
David Walker says, "Hi, Cabbie and Richie." Lowy87 says, "Sky Blues are coming for you." 87. They are indeed. You must be lapping it up. You must think, oh, you've got to buy into the next round, Lowy, because you've got such an easy tie against Sunderland. It's going to be a walkover for you a lot, isn't it? And that's what everybody's thinking. Hello, Janet. Good to see you. Richard Dixon. Rangers too good for you. Stephen Martin says, "Hi guys, I'm very worried about our team." So straight away we'll dive in, Rich. Another sackless, hapless performance on Saturday against QPR. I mean, I'm just glad now the domestic season's done, because I couldn't. Can you imagine if Sunderland had consolidated themselves in the playoff for 3 months to go, if not longer? We'd have to watch that drizzle.
I know. Shocking, isn't it?
Fans are still, well, some fans are still saying they've got now to play for. And you know, with 5 games to go, I had this thing in me. I don't know if I said it on the podcast. I said to myself, I can't see Sunderland winning the game from now to the end of the season, because they're in that much of a mindset. Jerry, good evening. How are you? Good to see you. He says, "Hi, Cabbie and Richie." A lot of Coventry fans confident. Can't blame them. Look, if we had Gateshead in the playoffs, you know, anybody that's wanting to face Sunderland on 5 wins on the bounce, they're going to think they just don't have to turn up. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I was watching Alt End, and he does like a lot of reviews, but he goes into detail. He's really good. He goes into detail, breaks them down, and he was comparing what we were like second half of the season now to the first half. And it's talk about chalk or cheese. I mean, I'm still looking at it, the fact, like, Sunderland, why go hell for leather? Do you know what I'm saying? And it is a risky game. They're not closing down. They weren't making runs. When you look at them, when Sunderland played like in the first half of the season, they were making runs. They weren't giving any teams time to get back. But now, if Sunderland get possession, there's no urgency, is there? They're just passing back sideways, giving the opposition to get every man behind the ball, virtually making it impossible for Sunderland to break them down. And even when defending, there's just no closing down. I mean, if you look at the goal that QPR scored and Blackburn scored the other day at the Stadium of Light, it was just effortless. They just walked the ball in. Nobody was closing down. And we keep saying it, but it's got to be down to the fact, like, the lads are on the beach, aren't they? Because we're not that bad, Richie. Surely, God, we aren't that bad. Do you think?
Yeah. No, I get it. I get all the points, and I get every single point you've said there. I mean, I've heard all the opinions as well, and I can see everybody's side of things, but it could be a thing where Reggie LeBree's just telling the players just to give a certain percentage in the match, you know, like a 70% effort, you know what I mean? It could be less than that he wants to play with, just to avoid any sort of knocks and injuries going into the playoffs, you know what I mean? I think he's playing a bit of a dangerous game going into the playoffs on 5 defeats in a row, that's got to have some sort of effect on the players. You know what I mean? It's got to knock their confidence somehow. Getting hammered every single week for 5 weeks, well, 4 weeks or whatever it is in a row. So, um, I think, well, I believe, obviously going away and having to think about it as well. Maybe that is the case. He's maybe told we're just to play at 70%, not to keep going in for it. You know what I mean? There's no point in, you know, pushing yourself too hard in the matches just in case, like you've just said, Cabbie. You know what I mean? Um, I just don't know what to think really at the minute. I don't know whether to keep believing that he's got a plan and this is going to pay off what he's been doing. What we've suffered and suffered for weeks and weeks now, but is it going to change around when we're playing the playoffs? I mean, I kind of see the switch being flicked personally myself. I think it's still going to be a bit of a struggle for playing Coventry. And I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get back to the form and sort of like team effort that we have built, like we said at the start of the season. But it's just been disappointing, Cabbie, for me. It's just been really disappointing, because like on Saturday I was full of hope that we could get a result against QPR.
Mm-hmm.
Just if anything, just to give a little bit of something to the fans at least, you know what I mean? But I don't know. There's too many. There's so many opinions and so many things that could be and could be this, could be that. You just don't know what to believe. You know what I mean? We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. But
It's
I
a
think we've
risky
just got to
game.
have a bit of hope.
It's a very, very risky game he's playing. I mean, he's playing on fire because if he's getting if he's gone out there telling the team, let's just really, really underperform, and we'll give the other teams false hope that they're going to walk us over and all that. It's a really dangerous game to play that.
Yeah, it is.
Because he's going to make himself look a right TIT in front of thousands, millions of Sunderland fans, whatever, watching. He's going to make himself a right idiot. If we get destroyed by Coventry, it could be game over first leg. You know what I mean? The fans are going to jump on him. And I know it's a shame saying that because we've finished fourth. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing that sort of could save Regis Labrie. But if we terribly get beat against Coventry with the 2 legs, then to me that tells you that wasn't an act. The last 5 games, Regis Labrie's clearly lost the dressing room. If we continue that form into the next 2 games into the playoffs, let's say we'll lose 3 or 4-0 at their bit, and we'll lose say 2-0 at home. Say 6-0 in aggregate Coventry. Then to me that tells me that Regis Labrie's lost the dressing room. He lost the dressing room months ago, and we've been right by saying it looks like Regis Labrie's lost the dressing room. The players just don't want to play for him, and that's why I think the fans. I think they'll want Regis Labrie to get booted to get the sack after that, because it hasn't been an act, and he's just lost the plot. I mean, it would be really bad timing if it has lost the dressing room, or we could be world beaters like we were at the beginning of the season. I'm going to catch up on some of the chat as well. Happy birthday to Ollie. He's popped in. It's his birthday. David Joblin says, hi, Cabbie and Richie. David Walker says, really need to step it up on Friday. Tricia says, happy birthday, Ollie. Hope you had a good one. Richard Dixon, that was your strongest team, right? And I take it are you a QPR fan, Richard? I'm not so sure. He says, Marsden had no one around him. I mean, this is what I'm saying. I mean, it's given everybody the illusion that we're absolutely awful. When we know that squad out there is a million times better than that. And as I've said before, it's got everybody guessing. It's got the Sunderland fans going, are we really that bad, or are we just doing that on purpose? And the away fans of all the teams are saying it's going to be a walkover for any team that plays Sunderland. Even the pundits, the footy pundits and stuff on the radios are saying can't see Sunderland doing anything at all in these playoffs going on the current form. David Walker says, mostly Richard missing Mundle on left. He gives a balance to the team. And without a doubt, every time Mundle's not in the squad, Sunderland seem to just go a bit. They cannot seem to cope. We've lost that edge. And I keep on saying at the beginning of the season, when we were just playing some amazing and beautiful football, Mundle got injured. We drew 6 on the bounce. How can one player affect the team? But it can. And when he came back before he got injured again, we started playing miles better football. I think didn't you only play 3 games or so like that, and one of them you only came on a sub, but we were so much better. Susie Forrester, good evening, Susie. He says, I hope we get to Wembley. Can't see it though. Whatever happens, son, until I die. Lowy87 says, you have the best turnaround second leg at your ground, so your slight favourites. I wouldn't be shocked if we go out. We have some bad issues ourselves. We got beat to Plymouth and Luton. We ain't Barcelona. I get where you're coming from, Lowy, but I think a lot of Sunderland fans would turn around and say Sunderland being at the stadium with like second leg is no advantage, because we've watched so many performances at the back end of the season at the Stadium of Light, and we've been absolutely dire. The atmosphere has been dire. It's been such an awful place for the fans at home. There's nothing to get excited about. There's no atmosphere. Last game of the season, I mean, there was hardly any singing. It was just flat. The lap of honour. It was just about virtually empty, wasn't it?
It was, mate. Aye.
And he says you've had some bad issues. I know. You're saying like you're talking that you got beat off Plymouth. Plymouth, even though they're relegated, they beat some good sides, especially at home. That was their away form weren't the best. I mean, even though they got a point against us, but they were pretty solid at home, and they beat some big teams. At home park, did Plymouth. Paul Stratton, Coventry fan. Hello, Paul. How you doing, mate? He says, hi, Cabbie Richie. Hope you are well. He says, didn't think we'd be 5th. If you can contain Ruduni on Friday, you have a chance. Whatever happens, best wishes to you and your magnificent fan base. We are all cautious. Yeah, and that's the same to you as well, Paul. Going to have no grumbles or complaints if you thrash us. The best team, may the best team win. And that's what the playoffs are all about. You can't argue this and that and the other. It's aggregate score over 2 legs. And, if you do go through, then, good luck. And it just gets harder and harder from then. If you get through to Wembley, get through to the Premier League, there's a lot of work to do. Steve Taylor, hello, Steve. Good to see you, mate. He says, hi, guys. I class myself a positive guy, but I can't retrieve any positivity from anyone or anything going into the playoffs. He says, hope we're still in the tie next Tuesday. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, what scoreline would you say there'll be no coming back from at Coventry? If it was a peak performance early on this season when they beat us 3-0, would you say that's good night Vienna? That's game hour.
Yeah. If it's 3 now, of course it is. We can't score goals, man, Cabbie, at the minute, can we? We've got nobody banging the goals, and even we might struggle against the 2-0 if they win 2-0. It's going to be hard if we get beat down there by more than, obviously, 1-0. You know what I mean? If it's 2-0, 3-0, we're finished, I think.
And it's the return leg. The return leg at the Stadium of Light, if it's 3-0 and say Coventry gone up and score earlier on, then that's it, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, we've got to be real about it, Cabbie. You know what I mean? Even when we are playing very well and in great form, we don't score a lot of goals in anyway. So that's just the major concern. I think the best result for us down there would be like a 0-0 or 1-1. And then obviously we've got the tie back at home where we've got the slight advantage again. But, like we've just said, 2-0, 3-0 for me, I think it's going to be very, very hard to come back from.
But yet the funny thing is, if we beat them 3-0 at their ground, you still wouldn't be comfortable at the Stadium of Light, would you?
I would.
Comfortable.
I tell you what, if we beat them 3-0, yeah, of course I would. I wouldn't be if we beat them 2-0 because, That's, in my eyes, it's easy to come back from. But if we get a 3-0 away from home, that would be outstanding, Cabbie. Absolutely fantastic.
And you're just thinking, where on earth is that going to come from with the goals, as you say?
Yep.
Susie Forrester says, agree. Steve, David Walker, got to play Lafay in the middle on Friday. Tricia says, please like and subscribe. Let's get Cabbie to reach his target. Yeah, I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for all your support. Dale Boyd says, be hard to play top dog after the terrible end. We just have to keep the faith and hang on. Tricia says, I think it's a very dangerous tactic if that's what Regis Labrie is up to. And yeah, he's going to just make himself look absolutely bonkers, isn't he, if it does. Janet says, I hope he lets the players play in their natural positions. John Nesbitt, good evening, John. Good to see you. David Joblin says, we're going to Wembley. Steve Martin says, you're right, Cabbie. Good to see you, Steve. Lowy87, Coventry fan, he says, you and Sheffield have advantage. He says, you have been able to rest and rotate us, and Bristol have not. He says, you'll all be forgotten if you get to Wembley. And if you do, he says, I hope you beat Sheffield United. Hate same teams. So yeah, it's the same with you as well, Lowy. I mean, it's, there's no hatred. It's a rivalry between Sunderland and Coventry because we just don't seem to beat you. But yeah, I mean, this has been said a few times. I mean, if we get to Wembley and we get up through the playoffs, they won't even give the end of the season a second look in, will they? They won't even think once, twice about the 5 defeats on the bounce. Premiership, here we come, says David Joblin. I'd like to say some of your positive pills, mate. Richard Dixon, oh, you're a QPR fan, yeah. Well, you'll have had a good time, mate, because you did deserve the win. John Nesbitt says, squeaky bum time, Coventry, not all that. He says, if we score early on Friday, that could be the tonic the team needs. And this is the thing, if Sunderland concede early on, then Coventry really raise the games, and it's a cauldron of noise when Coventry are at home. Is it the Building Society Arena or something now they call it? If the head's gone down, it could be a disastrous night for Sunderland. Mackem Dave, good evening, Mackem Dave. He says, hi guys, I think it's game over. First leg, or we go on to surprise everyone and make the final and win it. He says, no middle ground here. Regis Labrie, genius or an idiot. Eddie Bamber, good evening, Cabbie and Richie. You're welcome to come on it, and Eddie, if you want to join us, you're more than welcome. If you want to, just pop on. I don't know if you're busy or not. And this is what I'm saying, Mackem Dave. He just says, we may surprise everybody. I mean, why surprise everybody? Because of the fact, the way we have been playing for the majority of the season and the squad we've got, it wouldn't be a surprise. It's just because we've been that dire these last few months, it's now going to be a surprise if we win. Do you know, man? I keep saying, look at the squad. Look at the squad we've got. Would it be really a surprise if we do beat them? Yes, on the recent few weeks, aye. But just look how good we were with that full strength squad and the way we were going on earlier on.
Yeah.
So
I think what it is, Cabbie, at the minute is we're seeing something and we're getting told something completely different. So we're seeing what's happening on the pitch, obviously, in these last 6 games. We've lost 5 of them and drew 1 of them. So we're seeing that there's something going on between the team, but we are also getting told things by Regis, with these post-match interviews, these pre-match interviews. Oh, this, we've got a plan, we're going to be boosting it up, don't worry, this, we're going to be back to playing momentum. Even the players are coming out, like Dan Neil, Chris Meffam. They're sounding all very positive, as if to say, well, it's coming across to me as if to say, look, don't worry about what's happening now. We're going to show you in the playoffs what we can do. And that, for me, is sort of like a contrast of things. That's why, at the minute, I can't make my mind up what I actually truly feel about it, Because when you've got 2 different things coming at you, you don't know what to believe, do you? So I think the proof in the pudding is going to come obviously in the first leg. Or we're going to see Reggie Labrie and the players do what they said that they're going to do, and they're going to turn it around for them. We're going to be playing more on the front foot and a little bit more attacking and a bit more positive.
You
Or
kind of.
are we going to see this continue a form?
I know. You kind of keep getting beat off Coventry constantly, and because we've lost the last 5, then people are saying like, well, you got to win at some point. Do you know what I'm saying? But not necessarily. I mean, look at Southampton in the Premier League. You don't have to win at some point at all. John says, if Sunderland don't turn up Friday, this club will be the laughingstock. But I think they will turn up and they will basically shock Coventry. But once again, people saying it would be a shock. Janet says, Ray Disselby, the genius or idiot, we will know at half-time on Friday. Glenn, good to see you, Glenn. It says the Sky Blue Hope. He says, Coventry have not won a home leg in the playoffs yet. But like I say, statistics to me doesn't mean anything. It's a one-off game, these playoffs. It just basically everything that's happened before gets rubbed off. Your form, how many points you've got, whether you've lost the last 7 games, whether you've won the last 8 or 9 games. Southampton lost the remaining games of their season, I believe, when they consolidated themselves in the playoffs, and they got promoted to beat Leeds in the final. So the form, really, you've got to literally just wipe the slate clean and start a complete fresh. That's where the playoffs work. But you kind of help a little woodpecker in the Sunderland fans' head saying, well, we've just lost 5. What's going on? Colin Major, good to see you, Colin. He says they need nerves of steel, just like Mark Williams in the snooker tonight. He's just 1 frame down from getting beat, I think. They just need, the other guy, the Japanese fellow, just needs 1 frame. Glenn, the Sky Blue Hub, says, honestly think you guys should consider starting Brown. He says, always does well against Coventry. Lowy87, he says, first leg was tight against Middlesbrough last time, 0-0. So I expect a draw. Second leg will be different. And what he's on about there, I mean, Coventry went up to Middlesbrough and beat them at the Riverside. And then they failed to beat Luton Town at Wembley. And ironically, look where Luton Town are now. I don't know, there was just something about it was going to be destined for Luton Town to go up. I don't know what it was. They were just an ugly team that were bullying people off the ball. And, just look where they are now. It's crazy, isn't it? John says...
a team of basketballers, wouldn't they?
I know. John says, if people don't want to know why we have dropped, or just check out alt ending and look for Sunderland playoff problems. I know, I've seen that, John, and I mentioned it before to Richard. It's just...
I'll check it out.
I'll have a look at that. It's such a contrast. I mean, I know why. Well, I'm trying to be positive. I know why. The fact, like, we've totally dropped off. There's no intensity because, like I said, why do you want to run back, and why do you want to go in for 50-50 challenges? Why do you want to make those get dart and runs when you've got now to play for? Risk snapping ankles, snapping hamstrings, and this and that and the other. Regis Labrie would probably get his backside kicked if we won the last 3 games 3 or 4-0, but we've injured 4 or 5 players doing it. You know,
yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm just catching up on some more. There's loads of messages coming. I've got 50 people watching.
Nice.
Glenn, the Sky Blue Hub, says again, he says, I think we can all agree anyone but Sheffield United getting promoted. We can't forget about Sheffield United because pundits have got them as favourites, naturally because of the third. But there's many games I've seen Sheffield United and they've been absolutely awful. They really, really have. I mean, we battered them at the stadium like we just say lost at Bramall Lane because we missed a penalty when Patrick Roberts missed it. They're certainly not a Leeds United or a Burnley, put it that way. But they're third for a reason. So, you know, they're not going to be a pushover, whoever faces them. And a lot of pressure on Sheffield United against Bristol City, I think. Definitely.
Yeah,
Stephen Martin says, if we lose 2 or 3-0, we have no chance of winning the next. And I think that's because of the fact, where the hell's our goals going to come from? Sky
yeah,
Blue Hub says again, he says, Luke O'Neill has been involved in 13 games versus Coventry, not being on the winning side in any of them. Paul Stratton, Coventry fan, says, the noise at the CBS is off the scale, very, very intimidating. Quiet the crowd, you have one big task. And I said that earlier on, Paul, it's such a noisy place. And, with Coventry being out the big time for so long, this is why they could possibly want it more than what Sunderland do, because they were so close last season, and the fans will be up for it. And it is a really, really intimidating place, without a shadow of a doubt. Tricia says, I think the teams that are playing us in the playoffs are as confused as we are.
yeah.
What about Luke 09 before, mind? We usually laugh at Luke 09 with his jokes and antics, but there's very, very little Sunderland fans found it funny when he pulled the wedgie on Jack Colback. As funny as it sounds, there's hardly any Sunderland fans were just not in any mood for a joke. And a lot of them were saying, Luke,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Stop acting the clown. He says, you want to start putting performances in. They were saying there's a time and a place for Luke to have a carry on with the fans. And that wasn't one of them, on a 5-0 on 5 defeats on the bounce sort of thing. And he's having a laugh with the fans. Well, I'm sorry, Luke, but the fans are just not in the mood for a laugh at the minute. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you've seen the social media backlash, but usually we've laughed at him, but this time they're not in a laughing mood, Sunderland fans. It's like, no, sorry, but it's all right doing that when we're playing on top of the world and we're playing great, but the way we've been playing and you're joking around, not having it. It's a lot of the Sunderland fans.
hey, Cabbie, this is what's been annoying me. That's been coming out, right? Is this whole thing of, we've got to all be in it together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We've all got to be together. We've all got to do this. It's like, as fans, we have, and we've not stopped all season. You know what I mean? No matter what happens every week, we're still there. We still support you. Still sell out the away end. We are constantly there. We have always been there. If anything, it's yous that need to show us that you're in it together with us. You know what I mean? We go out, we buy your merchandise, we go out, we buy season tickets, tickets for the matches, take the kids along to the game. We spend a lot of money as fans, right? And to say, we're all in it, we have to be all in it together. It's like, I think that's a little, in my opinion, right? I might be looking into it too much, but I think that's just a little bit demeaning towards us as fans. I think they've got to understand that they've got to show us and stop the total BS that they're coming out with every week and promising with this and promising with that, because those promises haven't been met, and that's why fans are angry. You know what I mean? Yes, we understand. Well, if you are a true supporter, a true football fan, you do understand that we've got to take the foot off the pedal, right? But what we don't want is just to see this getting hammered and hammered every single week without lacks of effort, and then turn around to us and say, "Oh, well, you weren't singing loud enough, or the stadium wasn't full enough, or this, that, and the other." Leave us alone. You just get on our pitch and do what you're paid to do, and show us that you want it, and we'll always be there.
It's a good point. It's a good point, Rich, because I've seen that on the social media sites today. They were like, I think it was Sunday FC was posting or something like, "Let's get behind the team and let's make the stadium like a Calden and Noise second leg." And a lot of the fans are just saying, "Well, how about the team just turn up first then?"
Yeah, exactly.
It's a massive point. The want to see a response. John Nesbitt says, Ballard in or 9 drop for me along with Rig, Lafay in his spot. Colin Rowlands, good evening to you, Colin. He says, just need to go for it and win. Absolutely. Ollie says, my team for Friday. He says, Pato, Hume, Meffin, or 9, Serkin, Neil, Job, Lafay, Roberts, Mienda, and Mundell. No sign of ease though then.
I don't think Mundo's going to be fit to start.
Don't know.
I think he's going to be on the bench. But that left-hand side, I can guarantee you now, it will be the same team as we put out at QPR. There'll be no difference. That's just what I'm reckoning anyway. I can see the fear on that left, and maybe Tommy Watson coming on or putting Mundle on the second half, depending on how the game's going. But I just can't see them changing the team for Saturday. For Friday.
Brian Craig, good evening, Brian, in the chat. And good evening to 51 people now who's watching. Thank you for tuning in. He says, get a draw down there. He says, bring them back to a full house at the Stadium of Light. Get behind the team. And yeah, I mean, we've not sold that many tickets at the Stadium of Light as far as such. But yet again, that's just down to, I think, where... And he's also said he's enjoying the show. Thanks for that, Brian. But like I say, the ticket sales, I don't think we've sold many because I think they're just... I think the fans are just confused. It's like, well, what's happened?
We've had some issues with Ticketmaster as well. I think Ticketmaster's been down for the past few days.
They haven't got
they haven't got like an accurate sort of like figure as to how many's been sold. But I think it was Thursday or Friday when I seen it. It was something like 12,000 being sold by Friday. So, I don't know. I think it's more to do with the season tickets first, isn't it? And then they put it on to general sale to other people.
Somewhat like that. Kingfisher and Tricia says, please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you very, very much, Tricia and Kingfisher, as always. Mackem, Dave, good to see you, Mackem. He says, both of you were spot on. He says, the Sunderland side early season would beat any of these sides left in the playoffs. He says, due a win over Coventry, and they could be overconfident. When we always remember when we played Coventry early on in the season, and we absolutely destroyed them first half, 2-0. And it was so out of character, Sunderland second half, where we literally just sat back, didn't we? Just sat back, and then it was 2-2, and there was 2 world-beating goals were scored, wasn't it? And it just totally took the enjoyment out of the game. Fair play to Coventry, they came back and they battled. But it was that first half performance, and we just couldn't carry it on the second half. It was a completely opposite. But we want to see that fight back, because it's been massively missing. John Nesbitt says, if Isidore does not do the business Friday and Tuesday, he says we need to get rid. He says, can't have another lame duck being a carrier. And it is a concern with Isidore, but yet again, the way Sunderland have been playing, it's not really helped Isidore because we've just not been attacking. We've not been an attacking like-minded, have we? We're just hoofing the ball up and passing sideways and backwards, and when we do go forward, we're that slow. The 10 men have had a chance to get back. He's virtually got an impossible job up on his own. For Isidore to shine, I think the rest of the team needs to shine. We need to work as a unit. And at the minute, them dart and runs he used to make. We used to play the through balls and he used to leave the defenders for dead. That's not happening at the minute because of the fact we're so slow. We're not in a rush of going forward. Isidore can't run into 11 players, 10 players, because that's what happens. If he gets the ball, he's surrounded. There's nowhere for anybody to go. It's just, like I said, because the lack of urgency from us going forward and how slow we are going forward.
There's no support from Cabbie. Chris Rigg used to be a massive support for him, like I was saying in that video that I did. The midfield was our strongest point in the team at the start of the season. Everything went through our midfield, and they were unbeatable. Chris Rigg's support for Isidore was fantastic, and the same for Mayenda. But there's nobody supporting either Mayenda or Isidore. You know what I mean? I mean, Paddy Roberts comes in, yes, off that right-hand side, cuts into the middle a little bit more and looks for maybe a little through ball past him. And then obviously whoever's on the left's getting the balls whipped in or cutting inside as well. But there's nobody through the middle. So we need somebody to be through the middle. And I think playing Lefebvre eventually in the middle would help that. But unfortunately, I can say it'll be Chris Rigg again on Friday. And obviously, of his recent performances as well, he hasn't been great, and I don't think the support for Wilson Isidore has been great either. So I think he really needs to step it up. And he's going to be supplied, right? We can't just keep pumping the balls off from the back to him and just hope he runs onto them or the defender makes a mistake and he gets through on goal, because I think that's all we're hoping for. We've got to supply him different ways. We can't supply him on his head. because he's poor with his heading. So they've got to figure out how to supply our strikers to the strongest points. Hopefully that's what they're working on, but get somebody in behind him that's going to feed him as well. Like Chris Riggs, step up his game. The fee, if he plays there, he'll give him a bit of support. But I'm not totally defending him on that because I think he's been poor, and I've had my thoughts on it. You know what I mean? I think it's 13 games now, including the game on Saturday that he hasn't scored a
And the,
goal. Yes, he
the
didn't play
chances
on
he has
Saturday,
had that the
but
chances he has had, Richard, as well, is Richie's like
yeah,
he's missed absolute sitters, glaring headers, 6 yards out
yeah.
and stuff, and he's headed it like miles wide, or he's just not connected with it. Janet says Coventry says injured is Bassett, Mason, Clark, Victor, Torp, Oliver, and Dovin for Coventry. Tricia says we need to wedge the ball in the net, not up someone's backside. Totally agree with you there, Tricia. Kingfisher says totally agree.
Yeah.
Richie. Tricia's also said it's the team who are breeding apathy young among the fans. Absolutely. Tony Huntington says I would play 09 for Neil. Neil apparently was terrible against QPR.
No.
David Walker says play Isidore left if Mundell not fit enough. He says Mienda up front, Lafay in for Rig. William Babbitt says he's a Leeds fan. Greetings from Leeds, yeah, and congratulations to Leeds getting the title, well deserved, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. It was a bit of a nerve-wracking day for you lot to get the title, but you've done it. So congratulations to them. Big fan base, big club, Leeds, and the test will be for you next season, so you can get on. David Walker says tickets are season ticket holders only at the moment. Paul Stratton, the Coventry fan, says Mackem Dave can assure you we are not overconfident. The CBS already sold out. Squeaky bum time for both of us, and it is the playoffs. It's nobody's guaranteed it. Recorded on Earth, good to see you. He says remember last season we went on a terrible run on the back half of the season, and if we didn't have a good start of the season, we would have gone down. He says remember why Tony Mowbray was sacked, and we're still not recruiting properly. Recorded on Earth, because look at that dire need of transfers we've made it in January. It was pathetic signing a lad from Liverpool with a broken back. Yes, signing Jayden Dance from Liverpool on a loan, season-long loan, with a broken back. I mean, that's Sunderland are going to go back to that. If we fail to get through the playoffs, and they're going to go back to Speakman and go and say, like, well, what do you expect with a pathetic transfer window we had? I mean, signing a player with a broken back, I mean, that's just an insult to the fans. I mean, come off it.
Yeah, definitely.
Tony Huntington says only one shot on target, 09 and a header from Ballard. Telly says you've got to play Isidore into his feet, not overhead. We all know how good Isidore is on his feet. He's quality. William Babbitt says you're a win. He says you've got this. Thanks for that, William. Cheers, fella. Janet says I would be happy with 4-4-2 formation. Ollie says remember that time when we were on the attack at Stoke City and a cross came into the box and Isidore stepped away. Yeah, he's done it a few times. He's not confident when the ball gets played onto his head. He doesn't.
No, he's struggling.
John Nesbitt says if Ballard was played instead of Lukey Botto 9, all those corners we possibly could have scored. I really don't know what people see in 09. He's garbage for sure, and a few fans say that. It's all right being Mr. Nice in football, but it's about the business on the pitch. Stephen Martin says Dan Neil should not be captain. Mackem Dave says thanks guys for a great chat again. Totally love this show. That's very kind of you, Mackem Dave. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in as well. And Tricia says please hit the like and subscribe button as well. Thank you very much indeed. Trying to go back. John 73. Imagine it could go down to penalties. And second leg up here. I don't want penalties. I wouldn't be confident Sunderland taking penalties if there wasn't a goalkeeper in goal. Seriously.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
If they didn't have a goalkeeper, If their goalkeeper got sent off and they had to have a player in goal, I still would favour Coventry massively in penalties at the minute with us. As sad as it seems, but that is the absolute truth. I was looking at one comment before. Yeah, it was someone mentioned about the corners. It's like our corners are still awful, aren't they?
Oh yeah, really bad, Cabbie.
The only
Kind of beat the first one, man.
yeah, our corners insist of either not beating the first man, 2 over hits, so it goes straight out, straight to the keeper's hands, or there's a foul in the box made by us, free kick to the other team, or an offside. That's our corners at the minute. Nothing else, not a chance created, not a roar from the crowd. That's the only thing that happens when Sunderland get a corner. It's sad as it is.
Start playing short corners, and if we can't deliver in the box and they're not picking up on that, we should be start playing short corners instead. You know what I mean? And just play it into the box that way, because surely whoever's looking after the set pieces at Sunderland's got to realise that what they're doing is not working. Like,
I know. Ethan also says he doesn't want that with penalties. But if so, I want Hume to take. Hume could take them all. That'd be good. Paul Stratton, Coventry fan, says, "Got to go, Cabbie. Thanks for popping in, Paul." He says, "Can assure you, we'll come at you from minute one to get the job done on Friday, as we are crap." He mentioned a swear word, but I'll replace it with crap. He says, "We are crap away from home." But Paul, we're awful away and at home at the minute. So believe me, it means absolutely no. Look, QPR beat us. They've got now to play for. Hull City beat us recently. Blackburn beat us at home. Do you know what I mean? The Old Women's Institute will come to Stadium Light and give us a good game at the minute, the way we're going on. Tricia says, at the moment, I don't think they know what the big netted square is for. It's mad, isn't it? It is mad. I mean, am I nervous for Friday? No, not really. See, last time we were in the playoffs when we were playing Luton, it was a couple of seasons ago, I was ill with anxiety. Now, I'm just going with the flow. I'm just going with the flow because I'm not...
until Friday comes, Cabbie, and then you'll be nervous, and guarantee it on Friday you'll be itching for 8 o'clock to come along.
I'm not expecting out though, Richie, and I think...
Yeah.
I just think a lot of Sunderland fans... It's not just the fact, like, because we're playing bad, it's just the fact, like, we're playing Coventry as well. And I said months ago, I've said it's Frank Lampard. I think it's destined for, because it's Frank Lampard. I think it's destined for him to make a return to the Premier League. He's going to answer all these critics because, you know, he's had some sticks here. Oh, Frank Lampard, he's an awful manager. This and that, blah 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 blah. I just think it's written in the stars, and I've said this month ago. I'm not just saying it now. And here they are, with Nemesis, we're playing them. And I guess that's why I'm maybe not as anxious in a good or bad way, because I'm actually not expecting anything from Sunderland, because my brain is now that trained of watching crap week in and week out. You're just expecting it now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of Sunderland fans on social media saying like they've sort of lost interest at the minute because the fact, oh well, what's the point? Put this way, if we get hammered on Friday, a lot of Sunderland fans will be just going back, oh well, I was just expecting that anyway. Do you know what I mean? They'd be disappointed. Of course they will.
Yeah.
You're not a Sunderland fan. But I don't think they'd be surprised. They're expecting that. I think a lot of Sunderland fans are expecting that.
Yes, and then we need somebody to blame for a Cabbie. So who's it that's going to get it in the neck? Is it going to be the board? Is it going to be the manager? Is it going to be the players? For me, I can say it's going to be the manager, unfortunately. You know, they'll be calling for his head. I won't be calling for his head. If we lose badly, yes, I will be. But if we don't, and we don't get through, but at least we've made a decent amount of effort, then, you know, I'll give him a bit of a benefit of the benefit of the doubt. But it's just, I hope he's not lying to her. You know what I mean? I'd rather him come out and just be honest with the fans and just say, you know, we've got to build on this and do our best, instead of saying, oh, now we're going to switch it on. Now we're going to be playing better. I don't like that, you know what I mean? I'd rather him just tell the truth.
It's simple, two things. I mean, they'll definitely. I think they'll. I don't know. Will there be a few fans saying, "Well, we've finished fourth. It's it's a really good end. It's a good end to the season because look, we've finished fourth. Look where we have been." But it's the way we've played, man. The last few months, not just a couple of weeks, a couple of games. The last few months, we've been awful. So I honestly do think
It's the start of the. Yeah.
I think a lot of Sunderland fans will be shouting for Regis' aid. I honestly do. And they'll really have a go at Speakman and the recruitment for the absolute shocking transfer window they've done. That's what the fans will be focusing on. Never mind that the fact that the Stadium of Light is to blame because it's so quiet and this and that and the other. We've done hardly anything. We got Enzo Lafayette in, and everybody was excited because we got him so early. Do you know what I mean? We weren't used to it, but then that was it. We were expecting an avalanche of a few decent players coming through, a couple of good strikers. Nothing. Why? Because Isidore was banging the goals in for fun. And I think they've just thought, well, we'll just let Isidore do the job. But once
He's
again,
not invincible, man. You know what I mean? He's going to have dips and forms. Surely they know this, and they need a backup striker for when that happens. It's not rocket science, is it, really? I just think they don't want to spend the money, Cabbie. That's the truth of it, isn't it?
Ethan says, did you see the bad mistake Giles and Steve on Sunderland's promotional video? I think I heard them. Is that on the Sunderland page, Ethan? I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, it was the Sunderland, was it Till the End?
Oh,
it was just like a 2-minute video, and they had like little bits of pieces of what they're saying through the season.
You couldn't actually, could you see them, or was it just audio?
No, it was just audio. So do you know when they're just doing like the match watch-alongs or they're at the game or something, and then they're saying it was just a couple of phrases that they said.
I thought it was. Kingfisher says at the start of season they were aiming for the top 2. Well, we were, but once again, I think it was lack of strength and depth which knackered Sunderland's chances. Because, like I say, once Mundell got injured, then I'm sure it was 6 draws on the bounce we did, and that screwed us for the top 2. That did. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, and we were just sort of never the same since then, really. But once again, that comes down to lack of strength and depth. We get an injured player, and the whole team just collapses. And then, of course, Joe Bellingham, he got that. Was it at QPR when it was 0-0? He got that straight red card, which gave him. Was it a 2-match suspension or was it a 3-match suspension? It's a 3-match suspension if it's a straight red, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is 3. Yeah,
I think it is. So we missed Job. And he was an absolute rock in there, getting our centre of the midfield sorted. But when we missed him, I mean, even Dan Neil and Chrissy Rigg, we had Dan Neil, Joe Bellingham, and Mundell, like 3 massive players. But like I say, Rigg, he's gone missing for months, and Neil,
he has.
But is there a reason for that? We'll see. We will see on the next 2 playoff legs. We'll tell Sunderland fans, where we're at. It's as simple as that.
So at the minute, Cabbie, what are you expecting to see on Friday? What are you expecting it to be like?
I'm just expecting Sunderland to get slaughtered. I'm expecting, because I'm not used to seeing what we've been seeing over these last couple of months or so. And the fact is like, how many years is it since we've actually won at Coventry? There's anything in stats that tells you that Sunderland are going to have a successful night down Coventry. I mean, can you think of anything?
39 years.
Can you think of anything positive? The reason why we'd gone there and get a result, Richie?
No. I mean, I think that. who we're going to get on Friday, Cabbie? Are we going to get the same Sunderland team that we've been watching the past 6 or 7 games, or are we going to get the Sunderland team who's going to be playing on the front foot and looking like they want to win the game? Because at the minute, I can't make my mind up. I don't want to keep I want to have a bit of hope, if you get what I mean. Just a bit of positivity that we're going to change it round, and actually, play it at the level that we know that we can play on Friday. That's what I want to see, and that's what I'm really hoping to see. If I don't see that, I'll be gutted. If I just see we're playing and defending and sitting back and counter attacking all match, then it's done for. I just can't see a way back for it, because they'll come up here, and if we don't show up, they're going to just take our when they play up here, because you know what I mean. They're gonna come for it at the end of the day. Whatever the score is down there, they're going to come up here and just go for it.
Of course they are.
Um,
Ethan Fenwick says, I wouldn't be too distraught if we didn't go up. There's still plenty of things we need to work on in the team. However, good progression from last season. And it is, whether you like it or lump it, we've finished 4th. I know it sounds stupid and it's pointless if you haven't gone up, but we're 4th. The top 3, the teams above us, especially Burnley and Leeds United, they've just been yards and yards ahead of us. You know what I mean? But for us to be sort of there and thereabouts-ish with them, yes, you can call it a successful season. But have Sunderland now, would the Sunderland fans only call it a successful season if they get up?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, I would.
I mean, let's face it.
I mean, yes, yeah.
You got into the playoffs to win. You didn't get into the playoffs to take part and get beat and say, oh, well, you know what I mean? At least we made the playoffs, you know what I mean? Your goal, when you're in the playoffs, your goal is to win the bloody thing.
Exactly, basically. Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not having
Yes, it has been. Cabbie, it has been great, right? You know what I mean? I'm sure I mentioned this before. We've got relegated, down to League One, couldn't get out. Then we got out. Then we come up Championship. Had a couple of, we had a decent season under Mowbray, and then we've had a bad season again, swapping managers here and there and everywhere. And then now we're more settled this season. We've brought in a manager who's suited the squad and got where we need to be. Yes, it has been a good season compared to that, but we've got a great chance, man. You know what I mean? I think this is what people are trying to missing the point. They're just expecting it to lose.
Well,
you know what I mean? I think that's... Yeah.
Janet says, apparently we have a happy dressing room at the club. And a striker. Yeah, Ethan, it was just audio. Cheers, Kingfisher. Give them a like. Finn says, Evening, Kerry Richie. Hope you are well. He says, can't wait for Friday. He says, feeling positive.
Good. So much.
It's Finn, I think, is the Coventry fan. Push up Super Blues. I think that's what it stands for. Yeah, I mean, may the best team win. John 73 says, try to imagine all the prayers given if we do win promotion. He says it's not over, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I just think it just seems a mile away because we're being that dire. I mean, even Gary Bennett keeps on saying, how do you expect Sunderland just to turn a switch on like that overnight? Mm-hmm. Ollie says it's been 1 month since our last win. Finn says 2007. I think that's when we last beat them, wasn't it?
That's when we last beat them at the stadium, yeah.
I think so, Daisy says, can you imagine if we went up, we would be worse than Southampton with KLD in charge? I mean, look, people say, you've got to get a goal. You've got to have a goal to get into the Premier League, and there's all this money coming in. But it also can destroy your morale of the club if you're getting absolutely thumped week in and week out. I mean, look at Luton. Sunderland did it. They got relegated two seasons consecutively, ended up back in Division 1. You're not guaranteed to bounce straight back up again. Finn says, and 85 at ours, I think. Yeah, 1985, I think we last won down at Coventry.
It was, 39 years, yeah.
John Nesbitt says, that's the $1 million question, Richie. I was just going to read that, and then an advert just popped up and stopped me from reading it. Hold on. Where are we? Where are we? That's the $1 million question, Richie. So if we don't know, Coventry don't know either. He says Jekyll and Hyde team is SAFC. Stephen Martin says we could still play
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant and still get beat, and that happens to every team. It really does. If we played amazingly well, you know what I mean. It's still disappointment, but at least you see the lads have had a good go. If we get beat and play like we have been, the fans are just not gonna be happy. You'd be looking at a half-empty stadium on the return leg. Was it is it Wednesday or Tuesday?
Tuesday night, aye.
Jerry says a successful season if you win something, and Roy Keane used to say that. He says like, why cheer if you don't if you don't win anything? You know what I mean? Why cheer if you've just survived to stay up? And this is that, you know, some people just want the winning mentality all the time. Tricia says, I think all the way through the season, the fans were wanting the ultimate goal of being promoted. We were promised that. John says, last drinks at the bar for this owner and Speakman for me if we get dumped out by massive Coventry. Ethan says, no matter what happens, he says, it has been a successful season. He says, if you look back at the championship predictions, everyone was saying we were going to be bottom half of the table. Kingfisher says, only successful by playing constantly good football regardless of the results. And cheers, Tricia. She says, hit the like and subscribe button if you're new. Colin Major says, Zington wins. Let's hope the lads can do it for us. Janet says, if we go up, we will have money to buy good players. He says, even if we go down again. Finn says, I think we will both win our home games. He says it's who scores the most at home. Yeah, it's all aggregate scores, mate. Mackem Dave says, let's stay positive. And our season is still going on when most teams have finished. He says, it also means more fantastic chats and banter with you two, which is a massive plus. Cheers, Mackem Dave. Tony Hunton says, if Coventry have a lead in the first, he says, we won't come over it. Tricia says, Mackem Dave, I'm all for more chats. Telly says, I'm going for 1-1. Let's, everybody in the chat then, let's have your predictions then. What you think the score will be at Coventry. Richie, I'll go with you first. What do you reckon? What do you think the score will be? What do you think will happen?
I'm in two minds. I think we'll either draw like 1-1 or 0-0, or we might get beat 2-1 or 1-0. I'm hoping for a 1-1, and then we can take it back to our ground. Then, like I said, it's in our hands then to make the effort. You know what I mean? As long as we don't go down by any more than a goal, I think we've still got a chance at the stadium, alright. So yeah, I'll be happy with a draw, Cabbie. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, people say because you're a Sunderland fan, you're supposed to back your team up all the time and all. But I mean, that's not my case. I just think the way Sunderland have been, and I just think that they've been absolutely awful. We're not scoring goals, and if Coventry are on fire, I reckon it could be something like a 3-0 Coventry. So I'm going to go for another 3-0 Coventry, unfortunately. And people are saying, are you mad? This is supposed to be a Sunderland podcast and stuff. You're not sticking up for your team. Well, I want to, but I'm sick to death of saying, oh, we're going to beat these 3-0, 4-0 the last 2 months. And we've been absolutely crap. Sorry to say it. Like,
do you not think he's got a plan then, Cabbie? Do you not see him maybe changing the tactics? Obviously, the way we've been playing a little bit more defensive and sitting a bit more low in like a low block. Do you not think he might change those and press them a little bit more? You know what I mean? Get a few more bodies forward, or
me personally,
do you just think it's
I don't think you can turn a switch on and just play from that to world beaters in one game. I just think it's too much to ask for. I cannot see it. I cannot see how we're going to do that.
I get that point, and I say it for myself, Cabbie, but I've just got to live in hope. I'm just hoping, you know what I mean? And then I'll make my mind up on that match day, I think.
And another thing as well is the fact, like, what's the players' minds? I mean, how many players is going to be at the club this season, whether we're going up or not? I mean, you've got to think of this though, haven't you? It's like, are they going to be bothered about wanting to get promoted or whatever if they're not going to be there? Let's say if Bellingham knows he's going to be away, Neil could be away, Lefay is going to be away for Dinnigan up. That's got to affect the players' heads, on it.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is what the people in the chat are saying anyway. John Nesbitt says, I remember playing Aston Villa at Roker Park on a Wednesday. We battered them for 90 minutes, 40 plus chances, and we got beat 4-1. I was at that game. It was the League Cup, and I think it was the quarter final then? It was a night game. Ron Atkinson was their manager, and I think Steve Staunton scored a goal. But this is what happens when you play quality. You know what I mean? It's all right having possession and battering them, but it's all about scoring goals, and they were lethal that night. I was in the paddocks that night. I remember it. Steve Taylor, he says 2-0 Coventry. Ollie says 5-0 to Coventry. Trisha Winstanley says, I daren't say Cabbie, I'm frightened to jinx them. Janet's going for 2-1 Sunderland. Kingfisher's going for 2-2. Colin Major says 1-0 for the lads. John Nesbitt says 1-1 for me to Richie. Pressure on both sides. Ethan says 2-1 Sunderland win. John 73 says draw 1-1 down Coventry, 3-0 up here. Big shout that one, John. Finn says he's confident he's going 3-1 Coventry. Why wouldn't you? Tony Hunting says I can't see why where our goal comes from, says Tony, and a lot of fans saying that. John Nesbitt says Cabbie, a bit of value Friday will do the trick. Tricia says if the players did move on, if we didn't go up, and you can't blame them really, can you? Janet says it's been a Labrie ruse. He says we will fight a fit team. Lots of our players know where the net is. They do. And Tricia says, Janet, I really do hope you're right. We've been here before. I've seen Sun in the playoffs many, many times. And like I said, if you did a poll, I'm going to do a poll on my site, and I think the majority of Sunderland fans will be pessimistic. And as well, sorry, Cabbie Volume, says Janet. Brian Corrin says, sorry boys, despite all the negativity comments from Sunderland fans, I think it will be tight. And he says, best of luck, push up Super Blues, from another Coventry fan. Yeah, best of luck, may the best team win, Brian. Janet says they know where the net is, but will they put it in? So there we go. We've just got, it's 9 o'clock. Nearly 60 people in the show watching tonight. David Walker is hoping to sneak a 2-1 win for the lads. We've been before. If we didn't gone up, it's disappointing. Believe me, I've witnessed it when we lost the playoff final against Charlton down to penalties. I think it was 5-5 on penalties, and Mickey Gray missed a sudden one and the sudden death one, and we went out. I was distraught. I went to work the next day, because I think it was a bank holiday Monday we played on that, and it was awful. It was awful. Luckily, we had a cracking season the season after, because we super Kevin Phillips and Al Quinn did the business, and we got promoted. And Mackem Dave says Coventry 2, Sunderland 1. So that's it at the end of the show. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Davey is slowly getting his head around things, so we'll keep you updated on Davey. So we'll give a massive shout to Dave and give him a wave. I hope you're doing all right, Dave, because I know he watches these shows, and we're all thinking of you, bud, and I hope you're feeling okay.
Yeah, we are, mate. Get yourself sorted, Davey, and get yourself back on when you feel like it, mate.
Excellent.
Nice to have a chat with you.
Absolutely. Finn says 3-1 Coventry, then 2-1 Sunderland. Yeah, it's like a fortress showground, without a doubt. All the best, looking forward to it, says John. Yeah, cheers, Mark. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been a cracking show as usual. We will be doing, obviously, I'll do more videos all through the week, having a bit crack on about it. And we've been through the mill before, and so we should be used to it. So, Richie, good night, mate. Thanks a lot.
All the best. Good night, chat.
Thanks
I'll
everybody
change
for
it, Dean.
tuning in.
Bring on